Welcome back to the Legacy EV240Z build. Today we're putting together our wheels.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh yeah.
Bruh, Liquid Death.
That's true hot boy status.
Sponsor us, please. It's best flavor. Yeah, so another set of BBS RSs. The sixth set I've owned.
BBS man.
I like these wheels. Also, they're so customizable. For Z's in particular, it's really hard finding a wheel that's like a 15 that you can get in an 11 negative like 70 offset. You have to go custom wheels. And then you can find some old RS faces for not too much money, and then you can buy lips already made from a bunch of different companies. So we're doing it again. Also, I just like the look of them. It's of the era, kind of, a little later, right? I think like maybe like 80s, late 70s, 80s. Either way, we're putting them on. Let's see. Every BBS RS face has a different stamping in it. This is a RS 046. So I think there are like a couple hundred different types of faces. God, that's so loud. A couple hundred different types of faces, and that will determine the back spacing cut. It'll determine the offset. The PCD, the bolt pattern, all that stuff. So each, you could look it up, but each RS face is slightly different. So these are 5x114, so they work perfectly with our Technotoy tuning kit. They have two different options. You can keep it 4x114, or you can go to 5x114, which is what we did. What you would traditionally do, RSs are a sandwich mount, so you do barrel, face, and then lip on top. You see why it's called a sandwich mount? You technically can face mount them, where you lip barrel together, drop the face in, or you can reverse mount where you do lip and barrel and then you put the face up underneath both of them. But we're gonna do the traditional way. Nice little sandwich. But one non-traditional thing we're doing is I couldn't find a lip that, I couldn't find a company that could make a lip deep enough for our wheels. So we're running barrels as lips and lips as barrels.
It looks like those food exhaust hoods. I just saw food truck come in here.
The disrespect. Got them food exhaust hood wheels.
Jeez, I done called it classless, and now I'm cooking it if I said it's like a food exhaust.
So these are from SRR Hardware, somewhere in Europe. I don't really remember where they are, but they were super great to work with. The barrels always come polished, brushed like this, which is the finish I was going to hand brush my lips anyways. So this also saves a step, which is pretty cool. So what we're gonna do is start here with the lip as our barrel. But one thing we wanna note is the valve stem is now gonna be in our barrel because it's pre-cut into the lips. Mm-hmm. But we don't want it sticking out too far and like catching on our control arms or catching on our rotors. So these are the same exact valve stems I ran in my other Z to make sure they clear the turbofans. But this is the only surface that really sticks proud of the lip. And then it's got like a little cover so you don't get a bunch of crud in it. And then it's kind of annoying, but to actually add air to it, you have to spin this guy in there. And it's a traditional valve stem. So I'm gonna probably have to take my wheels off to add or remove air from them, but.
Didn't you have this up on your Z4?
No. No, I had lip, like traditional valve stems on it.
Oh, okay.
But, which I think, I don't really remember. It's been a
forget
while.
what wheel you had. I remember seeing
I had
it
RSs on the Z4, and then I had the Style 109s or whatever that I had custom machined. But one slight difference here is this valve stem is a little too big. I think it's a 12 millimeter hole. This is a 14 millimeter valve stem, so we're just gonna go ahead and drill that bad boy out. A little flip. I'll take this little drill bit and by hand just clean up that.
Was it a countertop?
Yeah, countersink drill bit.
I was reading online. I never had a chance to test it, but they're like, if you do your countersink first
And
and then drill, you get the best finish. Like, for instance, like if you're doing it with carbon or.
That's all cleaned up. So now we can throw this guy in there. Followed by the gasket. And then both nuts, but I'm just gonna tighten it down with one nut. Go from there. I'm gonna make sure the gasket's all lined up and not gonna be squeezing out or anything crazy. Nice seat on the back. You don't need to go too tight. We're gonna put that other nut. There she goes. Snug this one up. Cool. Trust me, that's all you need on that. You don't want to over tighten that and like crack your gasket. So next is going to be the face. Some people recommend putting wheel sealant around, like inside the bolt holes, like inside edge of the bolt holes, and on this wheel face. I've tried it a bunch of different ways. Tried it that way, and I've had issues with it. So we're gonna do just raw cleaned up. I did blade all these edges. And then I came back with 180 and like really sanded them, as well as this edge. This edge is going to be the edge that's actually taking most of the sealant. So, an issue you can run into with your wheels if you put the sealant in there is the sealant can start to dry, and then once you bolt it down, it won't fully seat, and then you can have issues. So we're gonna slight little love taps in a star pattern. Sure, that's a star. Seated to me. All right. Make sure our bolt holes are straight. Maybe they're not. They're not, slightly off. All right. Let's check this first. You want your lips to be pretty tight to the face. If you have a bunch of powder coat here and your lips go on and have no issue like interfacing that, then the roundness of your wheel is going to be dependent on the bolts, which the bolts are made to have a bit of play in them so they can pull the wheel together instead of like catching on threads or something like that. You get the trueness of the wheel from the face. So you want lips that are actually made that have the correct inner diameter that are going to be tight. You don't want them loose. You got a weeble wobble of a wheel.
Take my other comment back. It reminds me of a cotton candy bowl. That's the one.
Hey, okay. I'll take that. All right, so now that we have the barrel as the lip mounted, going on to the hardware. This is also from SRR hardware. So actually everything that we are rebuilding these lips and barrels are from them, except for the center caps and the BBS logo, obviously. It's not. But these are anodized blue, which is really nice because it goes with all the anodized blue. All this car is either black carbon or anodized blue or raw silver, so that this goes perfectly with them. So nice little pop of silver, blue. You're not really gonna see much of it. We're not 100% on what style turbofan we're gonna do. I actually might not put any blades in it at all, it might just be a cover. I'm thinking maybe we'll do them in pre-preg fiberglass, so they'll be semi-transparent, which would be pretty cool. But I'm not sure yet, we'll see. We're gonna go ahead and throw the nuts on the back. And then I'll follow that up with a slight little snug up from this 10 mil, because these are serrated. So once they're snug, they'll hold, and then I can just put the proper foot-pounds in the actual head of the bolt and tighten them up properly. All right, so we have all of the nuts like slightly snugged on the back. So we don't have to hold them from the back, we can just hit them from the top. Some places you see will recommend 40 foot-pounds. Don't do that. You want 20 to 25 foot-pounds. I think it's 221 inch-pounds is what BBS says, which is around 20 foot-pounds. And when you're tightening them up, you want to hit them in a star pattern. I'll do 2 star patterns, and then I'll just go around the entire thing. So you can get kind of lost if you're doing a star pattern, you'll start hitting the same ones. You could mark them technically, but this works fine.
I was just about to ask, how do you remember?
Yeah. You could mark them and be really technical with it, but you know me. Not my style. All right, so we got all of our hardware tightened down. Wheels are nice and straight. You can tell there's full mating surface, everything. It's good. So we're going on to our caps. We're using what's known as a flat cap. Some people call them Euro caps. So traditionally it's like the hex, the tall hex. They also have a slightly shallower hex. But I like these because they're low profile, real chill. And then they take this little tool, which has 2 little prongs, and they click into that, and then you can turn them. What I might do is like add some type of extension to this or something, so I can put it on maybe a ratchet or something. So it'd be really nice to be able to tighten it down, because this is essentially what holds on the turbofans.
What's it made out of?
These are both aluminum. These pins are pressed in here, but I'm assuming they're aluminum too. Maybe not. Pins might be steel, but this bar is definitely aluminum. Get an aluminum extension and just weld it to it, maybe. Corgan strive. But either way. And then we're going with the BBS has a bunch of different color backgrounds. Also like a bunch of different designs even. And then they have usually a silver and a gold option. We're going with the silver BBS over blue, obviously. It's funny this says Nabendeckel.
Oh, that's what you said earlier.
Yeah. I messed with Dave Pratt from Speed Academy because he calls, every Canadian calls a decal a decal. So I was like, that's where you guys got it from, the Germans.
Out here still in German vocabulary.
These are actually the wrong size for these. So they have two different size diameters. These are the 70 millimeters, which is correct, but I need them in the smaller pin where like these, I think there's only 3 of these and they're closer in towards the center. So this is the same thing I did for my other RSs outside on the 2002. Just ground down all that stuff. I'm gonna epoxy them in. And there's also no chance of them spinning in here. I wanna like either line them up like this or like this. I'm unsure which way, probably that. And then there's, no chance of them falling out of the cap. If the whole cap goes flying somewhere, whatever, I'm screwed. But at least this way I'll be good. But yeah, so go ahead and.
Not having a straight line would drive me insane.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's already misaligned. But so yeah, that will more or less be our wheels. We will have turbofans, obviously, so we're not running a waffle plate. But I could always get a waffle plate and then spray it the same color. All right, so we have our wheel mounted to our tire machine. We're gonna go ahead and run this GE silicone. This is specifically for like aluminum and stuff like that, so just make sure it's 100% silicone, you'll be fine. I've used a bunch of different types. This type I've not had any issues with. But before we do that, we're gonna run tape around the top and the bottom just to keep it really nice and clean. And then we'll run a bead here in both corners, and then we'll smooth it all out with our fingers and let it dry and run to the next one. Oops. All right, so we'll let these dry overnight, and then Xavier's gonna go ahead and take these to the tire mounting and balance place.
Yes.
They look good.
Yeah, they look good. We have a bunch of washers on this front to try to get our spacer width on the front that we're gonna need to run. We're gonna run about 10 millimeters more than what we have right here, but as long as we got the measurement, we're good. And we don't know what we're gonna run on the rear, but it's probably gonna be like something crazy, like a 50 or 75 mil spacer. Even with a 7-inch lip, it's got a lot to go, I think.
How many bottles of beer do you think?
That's at least one full liquid death. Hold on, let me get the tall one.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh yeah.
Bruh, liquid death.
That's true hot boy status.
Sponsor us, please.
And he matched with the brushed aluminum.
You come up with a blue flavor for us, blue raspberry. Just think about it, you know. X got the tires mounted, which is awesome. I appreciate it. We're running proxy TQs on the rear because it's the widest proxy you can buy. It's a 275, 45, 16. So the widest 16 you can buy in any proxy at all. In the front we're running a 45, 16. Front is a 16 by 10, negative 140, which is ridiculous. And then
Say that again? You said 16 by 10.
Negative 140 is the offset. And then the rear is 16 by 11, negative 165 offset. Which is fucking crazy.
Jeez Louise, this is like a true GT car almost.
Yeah, I mean, it's got a
It is.
3.5 inch barrel and a 7-inch lip, so it's so wide compared to like a stock C, and we have such a low offset and such a big lip and everything like that, and a spacer. It's kind of crazy. You can see the front half of the rotor from behind the wheel a little bit. It pokes out because it's so offset, especially with the spacer from the hub. But another cool detail is you can see the tire through the vents. I cut the vents out, but they haven't been fully trimmed. I just kind of cut them out. They need to be sanded and rounded off in some areas. But yeah, I'm getting real excited. All the little details are coming together. So
Yeah, the small stuff definitely makes a big difference.
yeah, and we are going to eventually do, turbofans, like I said, or covers, because they might not have fins, but that'll be towards the end, because we can live without them. We're getting real close to SEMA, so any day now we gotta, get this thing buttoned up. But we will make it. So until next time, we're out.